Greetings, dear friends, fellow programmers, and those aspiring to be. In the previous video, we spoke about closures in JavaScript, but in this one, we will extend on that knowledge with some practical hands-on examples, where the first one is a theoretical kind of an approach, and the second one is actual closure code that I used in Penny Planner application and its category functionality. So you will see an actual usage of closures in a real-life project. If that sounds interesting, I highly recommend you to sit tight and enjoy the ride. I hope that right now it is already clear that closures are not just some theoretical kind of an approach that should be used in perfect scenarios, but it is something really useful and very commonly used in programming in JavaScript in general. So, in this video, we will pay additional attention to that aspect. I will not waste more of your time with some explanations and stuff. If you did not see the previous video, that is where you will be able to see that kind of an approach, but right now we are jumping right to our IDE and starting to chirp away on some code. And here we are. We can see that we have some code right here, which right now we have no idea what it does. But first, let me tell you that closures are perfect for creating enclosed private variables inside of class constructors. This right here is a constructor which will allow us to instantiate a new person instance right here. So, as you can see in our constructor, we have specified that we need a single parameter called name, and then we have private variable called age, and also a set of publicly available properties, which are getName, getAge, and incrementAge, which all do exactly what they are saying they are doing. So right now we can test this by creating a new instance of a person object, and we will call it Alice. And then after we have done that, we'll console log alice.getName. So basically this right here is going to invoke getName method on the given instance that we're invoking it on, basically returning the name that was provided to a constructor when instantiating a new person. So in our case, we should receive Alice as stated here, but I will show you in action. And when it comes to age, because we have specified the initial value of 0 for age, and then when we invoke getAge, we will get 0, then we increment the age, and we log it again. And as we can see here, we do get Alice, 0, and 1, which is exactly what we were expecting to see. This was a nice example of using closures and what are the benefits of doing that. Now, it's time for something truly exciting, because I really think you will enjoy this part. I will paste a very substantial piece of code that was actually in production in Penny Planner application, and I wanted to show you how closures can be used in real-life projects and in real action, and what are going to be benefits of doing that. So, let me uncomment this part right here and see what it does. So, first of all, we have a closure called category messages, and inside of it, we are creating an anonymous function, which will basically just be a wrapper around category messages. Basically, here we have to define all the values we want to contain inside of this closure, and here we are deciding which ones are going to be publicly available. So this is a different notation when compared to previous examples. As you can see, after the definition of category messages variable, we are closing everything up, but in the end we have another set of braces which is going to indicate to our compiler that this is going to be a function that should be invoked immediately. So this part right here is going to define an object of values that are going to be available outside of this closure, And whatever we have in here that is not specified in this return object is not going to be visible outside of it. This was the first example, but let's see the scenario where we do have some hidden parts that are not available outside of the closure. So here we have some validation, we have some API calls. As you can see, I've been using it a lot in the logic for Penny Planner. Do not worry, you will be very familiar with this stuff when the time is right. For now, you can just learn about closures. Here we are. This right here is category population helpers closure. And inside of it, I like to do the following. This is just my personal preference. It's not a rule. It's up to you to decide how you want to display stuff and present it. But me personally, I like to define variables for my publicly available parts of the closure and store them inside of constants or variables. And when it comes to private parts, I keep them as local variables or as functions. And whenever I see this scenario, I'll know that this is publicly available and I know that this is private part. So basically I can prove that this right here should be included in the return object, right? So when I go down and I find the return statement, which is not so close, apparently, here it is. We do really have it as a public exposed part of our closure. But let us now check the function that I said is private, so this one, and you will probably see that it is not defined in the return statement. As you can see here, it's not there. So basically that means that this function will not be accessible outside of this closure. You cannot do category population helpers dot generate empty category block HTML because this is not going to be exposed. This part is private. And right now that we have finalized our digging through the code of closures, I hope that you have a clear image why they're so great and why you should consider using them and spending extra time understanding them completely, because the quality of your code is going to be improved substantially when you do that. And from my side, I will keep talking about underlying concepts that are very essential for closures and you getting a firm grasp on the concept itself. If that sounds fun to you and you've enjoyed these kinds of videos, I would like to kindly invite you to subscribe to the channel because it does mean a lot. And also, you will not miss upcoming videos, which are going to be very exciting, trust me. And yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching and have an amazing day. Happy coding!